like to invite Nancy Yamout, the only lady in the midst. Nancy, I hope you are set. It's your turn to tell us about your partnership with the United States Agency for International Development in countering extremism, particularly in Lebanon. Thank you. Nancy is on. I hope you are able to locate her on the links.
Sorry, because you were using my my speaker. Sorry. Okay. Thank you very much for this invitation. By the way, it's my first with this continent. I'm happy that I'm gonna be among you and tell you and share about my experience with USAID. So it all started with my sister and I conducting a research, an academic research, asking what friends are joining extremist groups, starting from Al-Qaeda to other types of groups like Fatah al-Islam. So we're asking why. And when we went to prison, which I'm gonna talk later on, it's interesting that we're talking about, they think that they are freedom fighters, while the Lebanese constitution considered them as extremists. So there was a lot of debate. We wanted to figure things out. We wanted to know more about, especially in Lebanon, which the extremism started in 2000. And not a lot of researchers conducted in-depth research concerning extremism. So in 2010, we have started the research. We went to prison. It's a prison which is a building contains around 860 extremists. It took us 2 years to build a trust. It took us a time to conduct this research and came up with a result. So this result was published as an article with Al Monitor. And this is where all started, where we changed our research, the academia, to a project that is really functional on the ground with the support of USAID. So we started first to conduct a research which is expressive therapy with the extremist. It wasn't easy. So imagine we started at 2010. In 2013, we got our first fund from USAID, where we did the expressive therapy with the extremists. It wasn't easy. During the first 2 years, we only interviewed 20 extremists. Then when we did our first project, we had 60 prisoners who are convicted in extremism and condemned in extremism. Things weren't easy because we were women, and we were 2 women going inside prison. It took us a lot of time to build the trust and the bond with the extremists. USAID was really fascinated by just 2 women doing things. So we needed to grow up. So we created a team of, actually we started as the team of women. So I'm not going to talk about gender equality and gender movement here. But the thing is, talking to women, we were veiled. By the way, I didn't appear in this way. It was quite simple. We were veiled. We didn't wear something provocative. We didn't talk about religion at all at that period of time. Women with us were like approaching like a mother or a sister to the extremist. And this is how we built a relationship. So the relationship, after doing the expressive therapy, some of the 60 extremists told us about where they are being recruited. So we went to the area where the recruitment aid was really interested to counter violence extremism for youth who are being recruited. Remember, Lebanon is with the borders of Syria, and our border is loose. So you need from Beirut to the borders around 2.5 hours to reach where Nusra is, or where ISIS is, or even if you want to continue further to Iraq. It's easy. The borders is easy for you to breach and go to your destination to extremists. So what happened is that we did a multidisciplinary program which addressed to youth. We picked up the area where the recruitment is happening. So there was a lot of youth who were stateless. So at that time, ISIS were giving passports. So they were giving the youth leadership position, ID position, and money.
As a basic
So,
scientist, before you don't go and do your medicine. So I don't know what the craze is about here. Once they say don't do medicine, you see them running to chemical engineering. Because your first love, you stay pute. In fact, people we trained to be either biochemists or anatomy.
okay, sorry, I think there's just some disturbance. So to continue further, we did a multidisciplinary program for the stateless, where we worked more on their aggression, work on online safety. We worked more on giving them sense of belonging. And we wanted to continue further. So USAID, so I spoke to USAID. I cannot tell a stateless person who has no job and he's in the youth, which is 18 to 25, that will finish the training and you can go home. So we extended the program where we engaged the youth to do vocational training, where they were able to work in buildings or doing artwork that can be sold, which this is what happened exactly. So they gathered themselves into groups and they started like small businesses, and they started selling their product or giving their services through Facebook. So USAID was pushing too much for those youth to change, and this program went for 3 years to change the interest of this area in specific for recruitment for ISIS groups to become more engaging, to give more services, vocational services. So this is how we managed. So and this went further. USAID even pushed our work to the Near East affairs, but at the moment it's a bit pending because due to COVID-19. So hopefully when things get more stable, we can go further with our counter-violence, extremism with USAID and Near East affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for sticking to time. I don't want to take questions at the moment. When everyone has had the opportunity to make his or her presentation, then if there are questions, we will take them. So I want to thank you very much. Next, we're going to take the professor from India, Professor Parikshat. Because of the time difference, I think he has really sacrificed a lot of sleep. So, Professor Parikshat, it's your turn.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Namaskar. I would like to share my screen. So, just show my presentation also. I hope it's visible to everyone. And very, very warm greetings from this part of the world, from India. It's not that late at this moment. It's just 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon. So I'm not sacrificing my sleep. Thank you. A very warm thank you to the Honorable Vice Chancellor for giving this opportunity to me, and to all the university and my friend, family, inviting me to be lecture over here. Greetings to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Deans, the distinguished staff, my fellow speakers, Nancy, our Nobel laureate, Professor Wole, and the General, a General Professor, a General who is a Professor also, Abdul Rahman. Very, very warm greetings to all of you. And I come from Jammu and Kashmir, and from here I'll be talking about something regarding tourism and peace. So I would be talking about how we can counter violent extremism through tourism and co-create a peace initiative over here. So that's what my discussion is going to be. Well, what we have seen, obviously, during the pandemic, there have been times that tourism has been blocked completely. But if we take pre-pandemic times, tourism is one which goes through different boundaries and where we have all these things happening and where people interact with each other, they talk to each other, and they discuss a lot of things and they travel. It is one of the most important and potent vehicles for promoting peace and peace throughout the people of the world. As our Honorable Speaker General was speaking about the fact that it's just not the army which has to counter extremism, it has to, the civil society also has to come forward, and we as academicians have to come forward. And we have to deliver some positive things to the society. So three very important things that I feel that peace building processes vis-a-vis extremism is concerned are required. One is your understanding the cultural opportunities. A lot of violence brings or builds on the cultural differences that the people will have and how things move up. A lot of host communities are not willing to share their views, not willing to talk about what is going on within their culture, trying to protect this extremism angle, which I feel is a very negative aspect, and which if we have people from different parts of the world, tourism traveling, they could be easily working on us. We are actually trying to get rid of, through tourism, we can get rid of the conditions that lead to conflict. Because if there is more interaction between people, and if people keep traveling, keep talking to each other, a lot of misunderstandings get removed. It establishes religious harmony by bringing people of different religions in close contact. So we should not be talking about that one sort of religion or one aspect of people or one state or one region. People are actually indulging in extremism. If they open out their borders, if people from other places go out and talk to them, meet them, what we see is that peace and tourism can build up and co-create and co-relate with each other. And they can actually help towards or speed up the peace building process. Security is one angle we always talking about, but security standalone can look at, or as army, the general was speaking about, can look at that particular thing. But local community participation and the international community participation can always help in bringing about the efforts and bring out these intense considerations which can actually work towards peace building. A coalition of international travelers, travel industry can promote tourism initiatives that can contribute to this international understanding, quality of environment, the preservation of heritage. We have seen over the years that one of the very important aspects which has suffered because of extremism is our culture and heritage. At a lot of places there has been degradation of our heritage. A lot of cultural degradation has happened. Culture at various places has been destroyed because of this. And through these initiatives, we can always think of building up a sustainable world. When I make use of the word sustainable, sustainability is a very important aspect vis-a-vis tourism, extremism, peace is concerned. We always keep talking about the fact that sustainability leads to the fact that how do we take care of our resources, whatever resources that are available with us, that is men, money, machinery, materials, methods, how do we protect them? Sustainability primarily refers to the fact that leaving the things in a better manner, if not in the same manner as they were acquired. So that's a very important aspect. And once we don't leave the things in the same manner, we degrade them, there starts a fight erupts between people. And actually sustainability goes out for a toss and the extremism starts building it up. So that's what we keep talking about, that tourism could be one of those mediums which can actually provide information regarding sustainability. Our academicians could work out to building that particular things, and all the beliefs, the perspectives, the culture, the politics of one country to the citizens of another country. That could be one of the very important aspects transfer of this information through tourism could be a very, very important aspect. And what we feel and what our research has shown that in this Indian subcontinent, that it could be one of those mediators for peace. It could be one of those mediators which could help in peace building. So this is something where I talk about that tourism provides an effective tool for promoting peace, where there are a lot of, which leads to a lot of cross-cultural interaction. And this is what I've been talking about: national integration, goodwill, educational standards, justice, mutual respect for other, tolerance. And if all these 6 pillars are there, and these 6 pillars actually lead towards peace building and lessening of the extremism aspect. So that's what we have been talking about, and that's what we have been advocating in this part of the world. A lot of my research has been concentrated on this particular aspect, and this is what we have found. As we raise the educational standards, as the educational standards are raised, the tolerance aspect also increases. Once the tolerance increases, the goodwill for other people increases. And once this goodwill increases, there's a mutual respect for everybody. And once this mutual respect is there, a lot of national integration happens, and a lot of resources because of which terrorism actually exists, extremism actually exists, that is also moving down. And this is a pyramid that we talk about. At the bottom, we have this transforming conflict or extremism and balancing the effects of tourism. But once we move up, we can start with the peace building or processes, eradication of extremism. That is, if we use those earlier 6 pillars where we have education, integration, and we have goodwill, started building it up, they all lead to this particular aspect, which is referred to as peace tourism. And that is what we look at. One very important aspect when we're trying to challenge extremism, when we are trying to challenge violence, is the community participation. Any government around the globe, as the general was also speaking, the civil society has to come forward. As Professor Nancy was also talking about the fact that they came up, they started working. So community participation is a very, very important aspect, which can actually motivate or demotivate the local community to, or local youth to not to participate in extremism, which can actually motivate them towards more positive steps, help them understand what is more what are the basic things required, and it can actually build in the socio-cultural empowerment. So these initiatives can actually build up the socio-cultural empowerment, the psychological empowerment, and the best aspect that I always keep referring towards is the economic empowerment. Because if you have these economic losses and economic leakages, because of that also a lot of discontent and disorientation creeps amongst the youth. And one anger somehow, and they start working towards extremism, they think of challenging it, and they think of working towards it. And this is the last thing that I want to talk about is the community participation. Obviously, it's this tourism and peace building process is a joint venture working. A lot of decision making is required. A lot of representation in community structures is actually required, which actually will help in eradication of extremism and helping us understand and see to it that the peace is restored in the trouble areas wherever it is going around. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think I finished within my 10 minutes, and it's 9 minutes and 19 seconds, and that's what I was thinking and aiming.
Thank you, Professor Parikshat. Professor Parikshat and myself, we are on the faculty of the Global Understanding Program of East Carolina University, USA together. And what he has said in a nutshell is that when people travel around the world, they travel to the next community, that is what tourism is all about. They tend to understand each other better. And then the tendency to want to go into extremism through misunderstanding of other people's beliefs and orientations will be drastically reduced. So thank you very much. Next.